Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Chalner here for Forever Football DRFC, your Doncaster Rovers fan channel. Breaking news on Daily Reports tonight. A big, exciting update from Liam Hoden going into the last few days of deadline day. So we're going to read his whole post and share my thoughts on this. So before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, click OK post, members of the video. And let's get straight into this one. So, let's first look at the post. So, it comes in different stages. There's different posts, literally, as a thread here on Twitter. This is from Liam Hoden, the main writer of the Doncaster Free Press. And look, you know how many fans have been on the case of the board this past couple of weeks, the past few weeks, and some of them even the past few years. You know, we've had a growing amount of fans in the fan base against the board, but hopefully those fans will now be put at rest if all this comes to fruition. So, this comes from Liam Hoden, and this is what he said tonight. It's going to be an interesting few days for Rovers. There's some good work going on in the background over deals that could be very exciting. That's potentially massive. But of course, there's always a chance they won't happen because competition is so strong or certain things don't fall into place. We have to keep our realism heads on and see what happens. The plan for how the budget would be used from day one of Richie Wellens' appointment rested on the ability to get 2 or 3 players out of the club to free up significant wages that would cover 4 or 5 quality replacements. It's frustrating for everyone that that's still not happened. And you know, before we move on to the third post out of the lot, you know my thoughts as to why we haven't been able to move these players on. It's because the past regime, the past era of Rovers, where Darren Moore was manager, then it was Andy Butler as caretaker, and I've got nothing against those two guys personally. You know, Andy Butler, I've spoken to Andy Butler numerous times, wonderful human being, wonderful guy, has potential to be a great manager. Darren Moore, nothing personal against the guy, Premier League experience, Championship experience, former West Brom manager, former player at the club, nothing against those two individuals at all. But the way we dealt with transfers in the past regime, the past season, it was poor. It ended up being poor. All we did was loan in a bunch of kids and no experience. We had no one to pick up the pieces when it fell apart in the second half of the season. And we were in that whole saga indeed, where players were leaving for little money or no money, apart from Ben Whiteman, who I think is still our record transfer sale. I think he's now our record transfer sale, ahead of Marquise, I believe. And just to give you guys a reminder, by the way, I think the Marquise and Whiteman money went into improving the facilities and keeping the club stable. Now we're going to start probably, you know, spending money, hopefully, on actual fees for players. So we're in a more financially stable position and we'll be able to do that as we grow with the manager over time. But I just wanted to put that little thing in there. I think the past regime and the way we dealt with transfers and bringing in kids and, you know, signing players on high contracts in terms of wages, I think that's what led to our downfall in the future, which is the now. So I would just say that personally from that regard. So Liam continues on the frustrating for everyone that's still not happened, and by everyone he does mean everyone, obviously supporters, but manager, staff and the board. The third one is crucial because that is who some fans have been aiming the criticism at. You would have heard me on BBC Radio Sheffield the day after the Stoke game, and I was told there was a section of away fans saying Baldwin out in the away end. Me personally, you know, you have a right to your opinion. It's not North Korea. You have a right to your opinion, but in my opinion, I don't get the reasoning why some fans aren't behind the board. I know financially it must be tough right now. Yes, we're not going to spend 1 million, 2 million, 3 million on this and this. We're going to have to keep it cheap. But if you think about it, that's the way we've pretty much always done it. There's been a select few that have gone or come in for a certain fee. Billy Sharp, prime example, still the record deal 11 years later. Ben Whiteman, biggest sale about a year later. Well, not even a year yet, later. Marquis Sale was one of the biggest sales. There's been plenty of other stars that we've brought in for small amounts of money, like a couple of 100,000, etc. But mostly it's been free deals, and that's the way we've always operated. Even before Blunt and Baldwin came in, even before that, when John Ryan was in, you know, bringing in, I think he admitted himself when we got relegated to the Championship, when that defeat to Portsmouth, that's it, that season when we were pretty much bottom of the table for the whole season. Bringing in the keeper, Bunn, for free, no money. Yes, the Willie Mackay transfer strategy at the time wasn't great, with the El Hadj Diouf and the Chimbonda and the Ilunga and Plessis, and bringing all those players on short-term contracts. It wasn't the best solution in the end. But it's not like we haven't spent fees on every single player until about 2 years ago, and they've just been free deals and that's it, or loanees. You know, we've always done loanees, we've always done cheap or free deals, or very, very cheap deals of that. We've always done that pretty much. So I don't get what the problem is. So with that, you can tell that Liam means it. That the support, we know the supporters are mad. Some of them want the board out. The manager is obviously furious. He knows that. He said that. The staff, I'm sure, behind the scenes are wanting to try and get the best solution possible, and the board as well. I know that the board wants to do better than this. I know the board are frustrated that we can't move players out and bring more players in. I know the board aren't happy with that. I know Baldwin isn't happy with that. I know that Blunt isn't happy with that. I know that Bramall isn't happy with that. I know they're not happy with that. And they're going to rectify it. You know, I see people against the board putting on Twitter and social media, oh, you know, Baldwin said we'll never go over 5 loans, and it looks like we could be going to 6 loanees. He's broken his promise, da-da-da-da-da. Again, you're entitled to your opinion, but let me just give you a backfiring statement to combat that logic. Take into account injuries to Taylor, to Hewula, to Okunabiri. Take all of that, and we have a thin squad. Take all the injuries out, we have a very thin squad. When they come back, our squad will look better. We're not going to buy every player in every position in the first window of our rebuild period. This year, this season, is a transitional season, a rebuild season. The first year is about sorting out a permanent spine. That's where most of the budget's gone, to sorting out a permanent spine. It's just a coincidence that the injuries are to the attack. The next transfer window, we will focus on the attack and improving that permanently. Trust me. I know this club has a plan. Let's just see what happens with it. Liam goes on to say, heading into the final days of the window, one departure could lead to one very good quality replacement in a deal that will be somewhat of a coup for Rovers. That's exciting. Let's see what that's all about. But obviously there's a lot that needs to fall in place to make that happen. So again, keep our realism heads on with that one. And there's still work going on surrounding the other loanee. It still looks most likely that a target that was being discussed from the start of Wellens' tenure will be the one that comes in, barring some last-minute changes of heart. As Wellens said yesterday, it feels like the season will really start for Rovers after the international break, when players are back from injury and there's a couple of more new faces through the door. It's just a very unfortunate that there's a big South Yorkshire derby before the international break. Fingers crossed that the steady progression from game to game continues, as New York and Rovers can give a good account of themselves. So that is Liam's statement. I'm happy with that. Really happy with that. I'm happy there's a bit more openly discussion. I'm happy that there's a bit more, a bit less transparency with the fans. I'm glad that the fans are in the loop now as to exactly where we are. Now, let me go back to a couple of them exciting statements. Keep the realism heads on, but let's have a look at a couple of them exciting statements again. Just those different bits. There's some work going on in the background over deals that could be very exciting. It's frustrating for everyone that we've not got 2 or 3 players out the club. By everyone, we mean the board, as well as the staff, the players, the manager, and the supporters as well, overall. One departure could lead to one very good quality replacement. I don't think I should be making predictions about departures, because that could just start a whole heap of trouble. But we know publicly there's 2 players that Wellens does not want in his squad, and it's 2 players that are not in Wellens' plans. And he said it publicly, so I can say it publicly because it's been said by the manager. Ed Williams and Omar Bogle. Ed Williams, brought him in from Kidderminster last season, about a year ago. And Kidderminster fans did comment on my video when I announced Ed Williams was signing and said, you know, once he's with a good group of players, he'll really shine. When he's come off the bench, when he's made appearances, he hasn't looked 100%, but there was a little ounce of quality in him. I could see little things. My problem with Ed Williams is he hasn't had enough starts. The previous year under Moore and Butler, etc. He hasn't had a whole heap of game time to really prove what he can do. What's the maximum of his ability? With Bogle, we were warned by rival fans, oh, he won't score, he won't score, he won't score. I saw improvements in pre-season this season. This season I saw improvements. He just hasn't kicked on yet. It's going to take time. Once the quality's around him, it could kick on. But Bogle, he rejected to move with the 2 offers on the table. He's still at Rovers for now, at least. If he's staying beyond this window, he'll leave for free next summer, and that's my honest opinion. That's nothing to do with the club, that's just my personal opinion. I think he'll leave for free in the summer. I think they won't sign a new contract for him. Like I said in the previous video, I'd be very surprised if he signs a new contract next season. Very surprised. Looking at those statements again, though. In a deal that'll be somewhat of a coup for Rovers. Now that is potentially exciting, but it proves what could be going on behind the scenes here. There's still the work going on around the other loanee. It looks more likely that a target that's been discussed from the start will be the one that comes in, barring some last-minute change of heart. So if nothing happens, no dramatic U-turn, nothing like Ronaldo from City to United, nothing like that. If we don't get a U-turn, then a target from the start will be coming in, along with potentially a very exciting coup for Rovers. And as Wellens said yesterday, the season starts after the international break. The season starts the season starts with Rotherham United in the Papa John's Trophy after the 10-day break. That is when our season's set to start. Let's see what happens. So, there we go, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching this daily report on the Hoden statement, Liam Hoden statement, the Liam Hoden statement, on the final few days of the transfer window. Comment down below, because I'm not working Tuesday. Should I go to the Keepmoat Stadium on Tuesday and do some Twitter live streams, some little Twitter live streams for deadline day? Please let me know, because I would love to see some of you at the Keepmoat and get ready to see some arrivals, hopefully, if they're going to be done on deadline day or just before deadline day. So, yeah, comment down below if you want me to do that. I'd be quite happy to get down there, maybe parody Jim White's yellow tie, get the red tie on, and parody the yellow tie of deadline day, and get down there. If I could get a yellow tie, I would do, but I can't at the minute. So I might parody it in Rovers form and do a red tie and get down there to the Keepmoat and do a bit of a deadline day stream or something. But let me know if you do want that on Twitter, various Twitter live streams whenever we get a transfer update, and share my thoughts on them. Any fans at the stadium on Tuesday want to come down and have their say, then feel free. But there we go, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And for now, I'm Aaron Chandler from Forever Football DRFC. Keep living the Rovers life, and that, my friends, full-time. Rovers side die. Thank you very much. Wow. Deadline day could be a mad one.